For those of you who follow automotive logistics and supply chain conferences, we have a special treat coming up this June, where we're going to be focusing on the UK market, which is going through a period of significant recovery and transformation. And it warrants a closer look at the supply chain because topics like digital transformation, efficiency, and sustainability are really coming to the fore. And here to talk with me about those topics today, I have a special guest, Lucie Dobeer, who's the Executive Outreach Director at Unipart, who's also the premier partner of this event. And Lucie's joined me here in our London office on the green sofa, which makes a change from the red sofa, to go through some key topics of the event.
Thank you for having me.
Lucie, as I mentioned, you're going to be joining us in June, and I wanted to start out by understanding from your point of view, what are some of the key trends and factors and changes you're seeing in UK automotive today?
So if I think about some of the major conversations I've been having since January, there is a real shift in terms of sustainability. It's not just a topic of conversation anymore. It's not at the back of a tender pack. It's very, very much at the forefront. It's one of the conditions, the main drivers for people wanting to move away from their current suppliers, potentially, look at new partnerships. And that then brings me into other conversations that I've had around the circular economy. So some of the manufacturing, the OEMs are now starting to think about repurposing, remanufacturing instead of the waste putting new. So these are the kind of things that we're really getting into really big conversations with, as opposed to just supplying and transactional.
Yeah, that's great examples. And we've seen some specific examples from Toyota. We've seen JLR transform a lot of its supply chain. We're going to be hearing more about that at the event as well. Across Unipart's business for automotive in the UK, I mean, you're a very diversified, unique company in the fact that you have manufacturing, engineering, logistics, supply chain, covering different facets. What's driving growth and change in the business for Unipart right now?
So Unipart itself has gone through quite a huge change over the last kind of 18 months. And it's been a change where we have bought everything that you've just mentioned. So our consultancy, our rail business, our manufacturing, and our logistics business. We are now one Unipart. So we are combined. And that's not just here in the UK, that's on a global scale. So our teams in China, in Japan, in America, we are all now working together. And that has been, that has driven growth for us as a business. So when we talk to one customer, we talk about all of the areas that they might need. So they might be able to have one partner to do various different things. So one contract, one payment term. And especially when we talk about remanufacturing, manufacturing, and the supply chain. So Unipart can now say that we make it, we can move it, and we can improve it. And that's where Unipart is a huge differentiator across the UK, but also globally.
You mentioned sustainability as not just a talking point, but a real driver. And you know, one of the things you're going to be doing at the event is presenting together with Robin Newing from Cummins, particularly related to a packaging project and how that's also driving sustainability. What made this such an important topic for both Unipart and Cummins?
So the story behind the Cummins and the Unipart partnership actually started at the Automotive Logistics conference in Germany just over 1 year ago. And I got talking to Robin, and he said, you know, this is my aspiration. This is what I want to do for Cummins, but don't really have a partner. And I certainly don't have one in the UK that's able to kind of start looking at it. So Robin and I spent from March to October having sort of in and out conversations, learning about what Cummins wants to achieve. Now, they obviously were talking to other partners, that would be the right thing to do. But as soon as the tender landed in October, the interesting point was we absolutely could do what they asked. Now, it wasn't something that Unipart had actually physically done before. We have helped many of our customers and many of our partners in the past to help them get to net zero plastics, completely remove all of the single-use plastics out of their supply chain. This was different. This was being a hub for the reusable boxes, the foldable boxes, to come into us, to be checked, to be cleaned, asset tracking, all of those types of things. And we ticked those boxes. And the absolute beautiful thing about it is this changes the entire supply chain for Cummins. And I feel so proud of Robin and of Cummins But for me, importantly, Unipart were able to say, this isn't something we've done before, but let's do it. And we are already running. So we're up and running. We are running the operation in one of our warehouses. And all I can say is that I think other OEMs should absolutely really consider making that change, because we made this happen and it happened overnight.
Yeah.
So there is no single-use plastics. There is no cardboard. This is a game changer for their entire global supply chain. And it can be done because we've done it.
Absolutely. Oh, and as you mentioned, the origin started at our event. So look forward to driving more transformation like that at this event as well. I want to read a quote. One of the things that Rob said to us recently in an interview, partly related to this project, is Cummins is striving to break the packaging silo because packaging touches the whole supply chain. And we've talked about working with manufacturers at various parts of the supply chain. So what role do you see Unipart playing in helping Cummins and other manufacturers to rethink things like packaging in a more cross-functional way?
Good question. So as I'm talking to more OEMs, the packaging bit is, again, like sustainability, featuring at the top. So they are looking to their partners. They are coming to us saying, how can we do this? Is this something that you can do? And what I really like about Unipart is, with its current partners and future partners, we are able to say to customers, we've done this for so-and-so, we can do this for you. And if we use our experience, if we use our out-the-box of thinking style, customers are saying, oh my goodness, thank you so much for suggesting that, because it's something that we need to do, but we don't know how to do it. We don't know who does that. So when Robin talks about the silo bit, I feel like he's talking about where packaging in a department in an OEM hasn't been included in a logistics tender. And now that is breaking. Yeah. So it is at the forefront because nobody wants to be moving any form of single-use plastic around their supply chain anymore. It's not something that we should be doing now, and it's definitely not something we should be doing in 2030. So those conversations are at the forefront. And if I talk about Levent from JLR, these are, of course, yes. Exactly. So if we talk about his frustrations with single-use plastics and his drive for sustainability, we've been talking about this for about 8 months. And now I feel like I could go back to him and say, look, what we've done, is this something that might be of interest to you? So these conversations now are taking off, and I think it's great. I would love to remove more and more single-use plastic from people's supply chains.
I mentioned early on that, well, one of the unique things about the UK is that we're seeing big growth in new players.
Yes.
So new Chinese OEMs coming in, selling more EVs and multiple parts, and really starting to growing their networks, their dealer networks, service networks. How is this making Unipart rethink some of its own networks and capabilities? Are you making investments or plans to better serve these types of players in the market as well?
I think what would really help is if I spoke Chinese. That would help. I should probably learn it. And I think there would be a desire to do so. I think the great thing is about the new players that are coming in, they are open to conversation. So I've certainly had in the last 2 weeks conversations with BYD and Omoda and Jayco. They are willing to have those conversations. Some of them have had conversations with some of our competitors historically, 5-6 years ago. And some of those sort of long-term tenders that they might have entered, they are now starting to maybe come out of them. So they might want to start talking to new players. They might want to start looking at new partnerships. And I think Unipart is in a very unique position where all of the disruptions around the supply chain that we see globally, especially trying to get things out of China and get it into the UK, the tariffs and the conflict in the Middle East, we can say to some of these players, hey, we can manufacture parts. We can actually make batteries. So there are conversations that are happening that are in a situation where we can say we offer localization. So we can offer this here and this and this and this. And that does make us different. And those conversations are happening, which is really exciting.
Finally, Lucie, for those who attend the conference and the sessions that we've been talking about together with Rob and Cummins and Unipart, what do you hope that people walk away thinking differently after attending this event?
So my first aspiration would be that they walk away knowing a lot more about Unipart. So Unipart has the heritage here in the UK. We have an over 50-year business, not just logistics, but in manufacturing as well. We have so much heritage, and you will see at the event all of those little pieces of heritage that we're going to bring to life. So there's some really exciting things that we plan on having there. If I talk about 1979, Nigel Mansell raced in the Formula 3. He won, driving a Unipart car. So we will be sharing some of those historical things. And what a better place to do that at the dinner at the Brooklands Museum, where you have all of that heritage, you have all of that history that's there. But I also want them to take away some of what we have done with Cummins. So Robin and I will be on stage on day 2 at 11 o'clock talking about what we are doing together, what we have done to make those changes across their supply chain. But more importantly, it is about what the problem was. So we really want Robin to feature what the problem they had, what was the problem that they had, and how did Unipart play into that, sort of the solution and the global solution behind that. So I would like people to come away with knowing a lot more about Unipart, and obviously learning about the reusable packaging to change their supply chain.
Well, as you heard, top of our agenda will be some of these topics on sustainability, on reusability, on new ways of scaling the supply chain. We're very proud that we can have Unipart as our premier partner there.
Thank you.
And you mentioned quite a few of the key speakers that we'll have, including Robin Newing from Cummins, Levent Yuxel from JLR, including others from Aston Martin and many, many more. So we're looking forward to this, Lucie. That's June 17th to 18th at Mercedes-Benz World, right here in the UK. Stay tuned for more. We're going to be sharing more insights on the market, automotive logistics, and from Unipart. But in the meantime, we look forward to seeing you in the UK.
Thank you.